if we want to do the whole team or just the
Well,
preview of your team.
we've got a couple of teams to go through, so let's go see. Let's see how many we can get through in half an hour.
Okay. Okay.
Because it'd be nice to have these here for other people,
Yeah.
if that's okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Would you
Um,
rather we just left, just leave
no.
us hanging?
No. Um, so I don't have. I'm not prepared, but that's okay. Um, I just need to bring up the. Uh, oh, I don't have the bookmark for the who's playing who sheet.
That's
Okay.
okay. I have it here if you'd like.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, Thanatos, we're going to go through a quick team review. So we actually did look at your team yesterday, up against Shavide. Some interesting calls been made. You're down three linemen because you've only got nine guys, so we're adding an extra three sixes or 18, so an extra 180 goes onto that team. So 980 and 180 is 1160. So it's an 1160 team, which gives you about 600 or so to play against. I mean, there's some decent players here. Move on the catcher is annoying, but it's still a catcher. It's still legit, even with catching nerves of steel. That's a game winner in anybody's book. Nice and cheap. Very unfortunate to be missing one of the blitzers, especially the tackle. What with Gould being there, but he has got plenty of wrestle, and the wrestle is going to prove an absolute nightmare, not just for the White's, not just for defense and his ability to take down ball carriers, etc., but also on defense when he is getting hit by guys with block, just going to have to result in taking the pushes. So I think this is fine. Four linos, fantastic. So four linos is 200. So that's easier maths again. So it's 1180. So 1180 is, yeah, you're going to have about 600. So let's have a quick look at Shivide's team and we can go through some of the options available. I think there's going to be some pretty nice inducements. Thanatos is a man who knows how to play Blood Bowl, but we do have here Shavite, the absolute god at Blood Bowl, who has been absolutely raffle stomping everybody in Division 1 all season with a very, very nice and very, very healthy necromantic team. Three guard, all in the right places. Does have his killer White, who has just absolutely done amazing work. The mighty blow tackle piling on, being able to have a guaranteed non-frenzy blitz on a guy of that caliber is just superb. So definitely somebody to look out for. The Dauntless isn't going to really come into this, but it's just such a great skill to have anyway. Has got a mighty blow werewolf, which again Gus doesn't particularly, Thanatos doesn't particularly care about, with the pro elves being all armor 7. The dirty player has got so many kills for himself that he now has wrestle. If you actually click on that player, Sylvan, if you've got a second, gorgeous, the dirty player, and if you just check his statistics, and he has killed 3 people, including 65 injuries. They're all from fouling, ladies and gentlemen. You'll notice that he's done a bunch of blocks and stuff, but he's got all of his points from SPPs, which is pretty fantastic. That is a beautiful killer, man. Very much up against it for Gus or Thanatos, but he is very, very able. And with that extra money that he's going to get, he's going to be able to induce quite a lot of very cool things. It is Pro Elves. They are going to have a wizard for sure. Has an option of taking Eldril Sidewinder with good old Hypno Cheat. Has the option of taking Jordell Fresh Breeze, the Agility 5 Ward Answer. There's very little bad to be said about either of those characters. And I think he may even have the ability to take both of those and to take a wizard, and that will almost guarantee him at least one touchdown. I think this is going to be an absolute cracker. This game is going to be on Sunday night.
Cool. Shall we go through the playoff 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order?
Let's. Did you manage to
So
find that sheet, or
yeah,
will I go
I have
find
it
it?
up on my screen now. So PK83. Oh wait,
Yes,
yeah. PK83 is going to be up against the IPC.
correct. So let's have a look at PK83. The team of tanks, they've been in Division 1 actually since Season 2. This is a very, very tasty dwarf team. Don't let the fact that it's 1940 tell you that it's actually got any bloat on it. We have 12 players here who are all absolute major stars. The guy who really stands out is number 1, Panzer, the very, very top. We have a strength 4, movement 7, block, dodge, jump up ball carrier. This guy's an absolute tank, which is appropriate. Got some nice players overall. There is the strength 4 long beard, which is nice. The backup ball carrier has exactly what you want him to have. He's got the kickoff return. He has his fend. He has kick, which does mean he plays him again on offense. Again, not something I particularly like when you've got 2 more armor 8 guys on the pitch, but I understand why people do it. Leader, of course, giving him the extra reroll. Beautiful blodge, guard, mighty blow, blitzer, just a really nice piece. Has gone for the strip tackle on his other blitzer due to the fact that he wasn't able to get wrestle on his main ball carrier because of the way they worked out. Has got the stand firm tackle, piling on mighty blow. Slayer, the other guy, is not far off getting stand firm himself. The correct skills and the correct order being shown for what they do. It's just a really, really tidy combo. Does everything it needs to. He's got all of the guard on the Longbeards. The problem in this team is because he's so heavily reliant on both of his runners, it is going to be difficult to get all the rest of the guys on. And to be honest with you, 6 guard at 1940 on a dwarf team is very, very slim. There would have been a good argument to go for Mighty Blow for guard on instead of tackle on either of the Slayers. But Slayers not having tackle is a genuine problem. It's a very frustrating thing about playing dwarfs is that despite the fact that most of your team starts with tackle, you end up having to give tackle to both your blitzers and your Slayers and normally one of your runners. But it's a superb team, very well played. PK83, an exceptional player. Deserves to be in Division 1 for the last couple of rounds. Also plays quite a lot at CCL and has done very well in several other leagues in which he's taken part. So up against him, we have the IPC.
Right. Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
Not a huge amount about the IPC. He has been in the league all the way through, has been playing these high elves for the last 2 seasons. It's a very nice high elf team. Especially when you consider that it was brought down to, I believe, 4 players at one stage when it was in Division 3 last season. And by Shavite, his fledgling necromantic team, as he restarted his team last season, that those necromantic, despite being as powerful and ugly as they look, have actually only played 2 seasons rather than the rest of our 3. He had a good game against this fella who was in his division. That was one of the few games that I did watch. Plenty of blodge, absolutely fantastic things to have on some high elves. Really nice passer and ball carrier in the safe throw lad. Plenty of red stats as well, or red numbers, green stats coming in there as well. So he does have a couple of move 9 guys, a couple of agility 5s is very, very handy. Unfortunately, they are on alignment. I tell you, one of the agilities is on a blitzer. 2 guard, 3 guard is actually 4 guard. Good lord, 4 guard is very, very nice for a high elf team. Does have the strip baller, no wrestle or anything on that guy, and he is unfortunately strength 2. And the big problem with when playing any type of elf and you have to come up against a dwarf is that good 400k of his team value has gone into giving his players dodge.
Yes.
Which comes back to bite you somewhat when, despite only having 7 Longbeards on his team, he has invested on 4 more of them having tackles. So it's going to be a hard day at the office for the IPC to get through this. Having said that, it's dwarfs, it's high elves, it's a classic game. High elves may not have the ability to use their dodge in defense, but they certainly have their ability to move around the table very, very quickly. And I think that could make this a really, really interesting game. Certainly going to be a fun. Next up, we have Angus, who is playing Lizardman. This is, I think, it's a very, very nice. It's a very, very nice lizard team for 3 seasons in. It just has all of the things you want in all of the right order. Not a huge amount of extra doubles or anything on anybody, with the exception of the skinks, which is kind of where you want them. Rookie skink, obviously, they're just to make up some numbers. He had a number of skinks that managed to get 3 or 4 levels, and he fired them all to keep his team value nice and lean. Always the correct way to play these guys. Has 5 guard, all on big, big, strong lizards. That Croxagore with his stand firm and break tackle is able to actually be really, really quite the nuisance by being able to get around. The Mighty Blow piling on tackle guy is going to be really, really useful, and has managed to get a significant amount of points from the use of that piling on skill, especially when coming up against Armor 7, which is a precursor to come. Nice to see that Angus decided not to take the last skill up on the thing until he found out whose opponent is. Some lovely skinks. The Agility 4 is just beautiful. The Wrestle is such a great skink. Being able to be moved 9 as well means that he can get pretty much anywhere. You cannot put the ball on the sideline against this team. That Wrestle skink will go in and roll 2-3 dice uphill and get that push and put you out.
You've got to give him bonus points for comedy naming.
Very much so,
Comedy
yeah.
naming the most important skill.
Yes. And they're great. All named after the chocolate bars that we all loved when we were kids. Good old Cadbury's. So it's a very, very nice team. The Sure Hand Skink as well is also lovely. Sorry, I'm way in a rush. And he's up against Amazons, which is probably bad news for the Amazons day one. But it's also a very, very tough racial matchup in general. Now, we're not dealing with rookie teams. We're dealing with some very, very tasty, expensive teams. Not a huge amount in different team values either, 1850 being a very expensive Amazon team, but you'll see that immediately the reason for that is because you've got 14 players, of which 13 have Blodge. Only 2 tackle on the Lizards makes this quite, unfortunately, a bad day for the Lizards unless you're managing to roll a lot of POWs. He does have a chunk of guard as well, which is good. Only the 1 stand firm. Does have the Mighty Blow piling on tackle guy. Will be able to go and do a lot of damage to some skinks. Has another tackle Mighty Blow, no piling on, and does have the Rattle ball sacker. 2 throwers, which is pretty odd. Both of them are block. I think both of them are niggled.
Yeah, I think there's 4 niggles on this team.
He's carrying a lot of niggles. So Saikurai is of the opinion that niggling injuries are not that big a deal. I've discussed it with him. He thinks that I'm incorrect. So we'll see whether that comes into play in this next game. Very nice team. Very nice to have 14 going into the game. A little expensive. Couple of arbitrary choices elsewhere, but I mean, certainly in the end of season of 3 seasons, you kind of don't care about the fact that you've got a couple of niggling injuries, especially since they're on blodgers. Angus is going to find it very hard to roll those POWs to get through the armor to be able to get them.
Indeed.
And yes, Shavita, you're quite right. The 5 versus 6 guard means the Lizzies will be able to bully them. But then again, being able to reposition the guard and being able to get the guard exactly where he wants it to could prove pretty sizably important.
Now, Crowdog and Aiden already played their game, but we can have a quick look at Crowdog's post-game team.
Yeah,
so this is the team going into the quarters.
It is going to the quarters. So very, very nice team, expertly handled. He's managed to play quite a good chunk of the last season. Well, not with men down, but with MNGs and whatnot. The man knows how to use his inducements well. Very big casualty there with the Agility 5. It was the Apple was used on it and turned the armor bust into a dead, and I think he correctly chose to keep the armor bust because that is an absolutely brilliant elf. Will be back next round should he be lucky enough to make it through. Has the skill on Windy Shepherd Henderson as well to take lovely Blodge Step catcher. So there's a wealth of opportunities that skill up can be even on normals. Shame to be missing one of his few block pieces, but I think the inducements could carry him through. It's a really nice elf team. You're always going to be playing a couple of guys down. It's a shame that one of them is Agility 5, but Shane's a solid player.
Cool. So let's look at your team.
Let's. Do watch the pod
2000.
tomorrow. Give me
2000.
look at these. So it's a nice team. I've been very lucky with all of my injuries happening to the linemen. Um, so this is the first game since the first round of the season. I had 12 elves, which was the first time I'd had it in the 3 seasons, and this is the next time that I've had 12 elves on the team. I'm used to just playing with loners as the lineman, but I have been exceptionally lucky with having only lost one positional to an absolute ridiculous gang foul by some Spaniard in the in the horrible matchup I had with Shabita earlier in the season. I've got some really nice players. The Witch Elves are just superb. Um, the Leap, which was fun. I did give myself a little bit of fun. Sidestep is obviously the better call on her. A couple of Roger linemen, it's great. Two of them are niggled. That's not great. I do have an armor buff guy as well, but hey, he's a body that isn't a loner. Some nice blitzers overall. Yeah, the team is good. Got some mighty blow, got some guard, got some adjupts. I mean, what more do you want? It's a dark elf team and a cool 2,000 points. I am up against. They are very scary, Aledos. Yeah, and here is my opponent for the next round: Kaiser's Glory, being coached by Aledos. And so it's a really nice Norse team. Small problem with the fact that it's only a season old, and your heart has to go out to the guy having to play 3 season team old or three season game team versus 1 season team. He's done exceptionally well to get into the team. He's got some really nice players. Blood Sure Hands leader catcher or leader thrower is a really nice piece. Great not to fall down the rabbit hole and take the strong arm because he's a thrower. Although he has leaned into the agility access on one of his runners by taking the catch, probably dodge would have been a better option on him. But it does make him a legitimate ball retriever and for a very good ball carrier. And while we're talking about fast things, movement 9 Norse runner is exceptional. Really nice guy. Unfortunately, doesn't have any dodge, doesn't have any other skills. Is just little movement 9. I imagine if he had another season, that guy could be exceptional. Two Berserkers are fine. Questionable choice on the sidestep on the second double. Probably would have just turned it down for guard because the Blanche Garter would have been lovely. As it is, I'm elves and I'm out guarding this team. That's not a place where you want to be. Niggling injury on one of those agility 2 tackle pieces as well. Both those tackles are huge. Before we go away, I do think it's a missed opportunity to not fire one of those rerolls. You have a leader. Get rid of the reroll. You're down 60k. Get rid of the cheerleaders. Get rid of the coach's assistants. That adds up to 100k. And the 230 that currently is between us turns into 330, which gives us a lot more inducement options. I think Boomer, a Wizard, and a Bribe is probably the thing that I'd go for. Being able to spend the 40k. I have not my math properly, but I think that's probably okay. That would be a scary package to bring in.
Well, we will know tomorrow how it goes.
Tomorrow at 4 o'clock when the game happens, which I'm super excited about.
Okay.
It's going to be. I think we've seen what Norse do to dwarfs, so dwarfs can do that to absolutely anything. Here we have the other finalist of the round of the last cup round, the man who went down to Jetty Bear in the final last year. Will Walsh has a very nice orc team. It's taken quite a beating. You'll notice by the amount of number 2 and number 3s that are after some of these orcs' names. His 2 throwers, he has 2 mystery throws, both of whom are, I mean, eating up a world of SPP. They have pretty much all of the skills between them. And again, another one of those things, hear me give out about this, but it's the same as the dwarves we were looking at earlier on. You're so heavily reliant on 2 of your throwers, and they're the 2 guys who have to be on the pitch. And now you've got 2 armor 8 guys on the pitch when your whole thing is like your armor 9. I think it's a missed opportunity. Troll is basic and has guard. That's absolutely fine. One of the Black Orcs is a rookie, which is a bit of a shame, but he's the second one. I think I killed the other one, who was Black Mighty Blow guard. Has some Black Mighty Blow guard elsewhere. Has a nice frenzy. Tackle is probably superfluous to a frenzy blitzer. and has an agility 4 blitzer as well, which gives him a legitimate option of a catcher, and has gone pro as the last skill on his spare lineman, which is dubious. So
It
team
doesn't,
value isn't 1950. It's
on
only
paper, it
18.
doesn't look huge for 1950, does it?
No, but he does have 60k over that he's carrying, which he hasn't decided to use
Right.
on him. I
Yes.
think it's probably likely that he replaces the Goblin. He did have a really nice agility for Goblin, but it got finally killed after it was double. I think it's important to get the Goblin, especially going into playoffs. Not only is it an extra orc, but it doesn't add much to your team value, and it can be thrown for the one-time touchdown,
Yep.
which I think is one of the main reasons that you want to have it. It's the whole reason you have a troll as well. So Will is up against
Home Slice. Well,
Home Slice
find
and Slice's Chorfs.
So this had a horror show season 2, but has roared back in season 3.
Well, indeed. He managed to get into Division 1 for season 2, and it did not go well for him. The abundance of lizards and orcs that were in that division did actually start coming to bear. And the couple of games that he managed to get against elves, where he was hoping to get some free SPP, didn't work out due to the games prior to that being against beefy orcs or beefy lizards who'd managed to do quite a bit of work on them, knocking out some of his key players, removing one of his bulls. He did earlier in the season have a movement 8 bull with block and dodge and break tackle, which is absolutely superb, who just died dead into dead on an Apo, I believe. He's also gone through more hobgoblins than you can shake a stick at. I think he's had 7 or 8 dirty players alone die. One of the dwarfs is dead as well. Was a nice dwarf, nothing major, but had guard mighty blow. Would have been another contender for stand firm, like the others that have got there. But the ones that have hung on are pretty legit bulls, are pretty legit players. It's a tidy little team, only 16-10, nice and neat. It has everything you need it to have. He is missing one of his wrestles for next game and missing a mighty blow Chorf. But then that's going to matter hugely. He's the underdog in this team, so he's going to be able to get some inducements. It would be nice maybe to look at Hatark, or even I think Grashnik might be worth having a look at here, just to get something in that can hold his backfield. Grashnak is an absolute beast when it comes to dealing with orcs as well. Grashnak, for anybody who isn't aware, is a strength 6 Minotaur. So I would be looking at taking that guy. He's definitely worthwhile. Might cost him a bit of money. I don't know if he actually has it, but it'll be interesting. This is going to be a good game.
Yeah.
And the winner will play against myself or Eldos.
So the next playoff
was the game that we just watched.
Was Jedi versus Mina. We've already looked at Jedi's team. So then the final playoff matchup 8 is Scrofula. Oh wait, hang on a second.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah.
It's no snakes here.
It's team from Cobra Die.
Yes.
Here we go. No snakes here. And this is a tasty lizard team. You'll notice the 2 things that stand out are the 2 strength 5 Saurus right in the middle. Absolute anchors. Anchor, I said. So he had a very bad game last game, resulting in a niggling injury on his agility 4 skink, which is very painful. And strength bust on another skink, and a missed next game for Mr. Crocs. Mr. Crocs has been suffering from bin movement 5 since the start, but he has never had the money to replace him. Shibide also has a Cobra as a trophy zombie, his teams. So yeah, you can tell from the matchup and how badly beaten up he was that he was playing Wood Elves last round. I'm not even joking. It was Wood Elves that did this to them.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, pretty funny, but also kind of horrible. And the lack of Crocs, the rookie Saurus, and the missing agility on his team is actually quite a big deal. So he's got his 6 Saurus. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Only has 10 guys, so he will have to take a rookie skink, which isn't great news. And let's have a look at the other teams. So we've got 1540 in our heads to see what he's up against. And it's not a favorable matchup for Lizards, unfortunately, in the force of Sirens and his categorical imperatives and all of these fantastic free thinkers who have brought Claw and Mighty Blow to the table. So it's a decent Chaos team. Nothing spectacular. Unfortunate armor busts on both of the warriors at the top, but they've got guard. They don't really need to do anything else. One of them is kind of funky with his diving tackle and tackle. It's annoying to get away from and very annoying if you're a skink. All of a sudden, it kind of comes into the fore. I certainly don't want to have to play with the guy either because, I might make fun of it for being a bit of a meme pick, but you start dodging away from that as an elf and you're like, oh, damn it. One of the guards out for the game, not a big deal. You can tell that he's just been building this for the last season by just throwing some guard on some goats because what else do you need to do with them? Interestingly enough, has both a ball carrier and a ball retriever. Both have sure hands. One of them took the double for pass and has kickoff return, making him the initial guy to carry the ball. You notice that the other guy is a blodge fend, sure hands, extra arms guy, which makes him not only good at picking up the ball, but also rather good at receiving it. Probably would have turned down the fend for 2 heads to make him that little bit more elusive, but it's a tiny little goat all the same and goes to show all of the cool things that you can do with the access to general strength and mutations. Goats are really cool and you can do really cool things with them, but we have at the second last man the one thing that everybody does with all of their goats, which is to give them block, mighty blow, claw, piling on, and tackle. That guy is an absolute beast and could win this game by himself. I think that he's going to have to be careful about when he does decide to pile on, because as soon as he does, he's going to find himself surrounded by a hell of a lot of angry lizards and a very small lizard willing to kick him in whatever it is that goats have between their legs.
Yeah, but the Scruff isn't going to be blessed with lots of lizards, and he's going to not have a lot of inducements either, because with the Skink Loner, it's 1610.
Correct,
So it's exactly
1610.
150, which, I mean, it has to be a wizard, right?
You'd think it probably definitely has to be. The issue with being a wizard is that his agility lad is out. He's going to have to be very specific about where he does decide to put it in. The fact that he's got 2 ball carrier goats means that it's going to be very difficult to get that wizard into proper effect.
Yeah.
Because once you have one of them get hit, the other guy just goes over and picks it up, and there's 150 that's gone away. You'd think that if he had the money to do some other stuff with, it would have been nice to get Slibley in there maybe. Hemlock is a legitimate option as well. Hemlock is very, very good and does have blodge and stab, but probably not going to get the most out of them this game. There is only 3 tackle in the team. I mean, one is Almighty Blood Claw. Claw, I suppose, doesn't matter to the small guys, but the tackle elsewhere, and having 3 of them, it's a bit of a luxury to have tackle at all on a Chaos team. So having 3 of them is pretty great. He's going to be able to spread them around the pitch and seriously hinder the movement of the Skinks. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be, it's definitely going to be one to watch, and I would shudder to call it. Peter Scrofula, who is our all-hail head admin for the league, is an exceptional player. Every time I play him, it makes me a better player. And I really, really enjoy our games. I think it's going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
I've played Sirens just the once as the opening game of the whole thing. His categorical competitors versus my Obsidian Sybarites, and I was going out to try to get my 2 touchdowns on my witch to see if I could get a level, and just about came out of that game with a. I think I actually lost that game 2-1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the guy can play Blood Bowl. That was rookie Chaos as well. So the team has
Yeah,
come up.
it took him a little time to get it off the ground, but it's sailing pretty well now as we hit the 3rd season, coming into its own just at the right time.
Yeah, you would have liked to have seen some more skills on those warriors, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
what it is.
At 1760, it's lean.
It is for Chaos. It's very lean. I suppose a lot of them. Very few doubles in there overall. Only 2 doubles on the team, which is pretty cool, I suppose. Just the pass and the what was the other double? I can't even remember. But he's got a dodge. Yeah. But yeah, nice team overall. I think that's going to be definitely a really, really good team or game to watch, as I
Awesome.
think they all are. Uh, really excitingly, just as when we came to the end of the season and we didn't really know who was going to make it out of which division, it's looking at this list of people who are playing, and I honestly couldn't tell you who's going to get through all of the games.
No, it's impossible to call. I think there's fantastic teams and fantastic coaches. I think it's going to be a really exciting cup.
Yeah.
I will have to work out how to split this little review that we did out of the video for the game. Or I might just leave it and tell people go watch the game and it's at the end, depending on how hard the technical side is.
Yeah, you're quite right. Shavile points out that on 11 versus 11. So.
Yeah. I would love to stick around longer and chat, Caleb, but I have to go. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for taking us through that and for the co-commentary.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming along and watching. And we will be Spork-bearer will be on again tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Do come along and watch that. I'll try to pop in afterwards and cry into the microphone about or come up with legitimate excuses for why the Norse have beaten me up and the Dark Elves have come to a horrible end.
Cheers all. Have a good evening.
Nice one. Cheers, lads. Thanks for coming along.
Bye.